Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Matt Horn
is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
It started in Seattle after everything happened. I wish I could explain.
I'm so sorry.
It was all my fault.
Step back.
Dad came out to help.
Oh no.
On the ground.
Somebody called the cops.
Now.
Hey, what's up, man? It's Michael. Dude, I just played Life is Strange 2, man. You gotta play it, bro. It's like the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life. You might fall in love with me a little bit, but I'm cool with that. So, anyways, I just think you should check it out, bro. And let me know how it is when you play.
On the line, we have Michael Gmur talking to us. From where are you talking to us from, Michael?
I'm talking to you from Quartz Hill, California, about an hour north of Los Angeles.
What's the weather like?
It's windy, but it's not cold. It's just windy. It's a very windy place.
Now, I have to start off this podcast. I'm sure people are thinking it's December the 14th, the day after. I'm British and I'm not going to say anything about what happened yesterday.
Hey, you know, man, it's like we're twins now, so
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes.
I can't stand that guy. I can't stand any of it. Everyone I've talked to is like, what'd you guys do? And I'm like, it's not me. I didn't do it. This isn't my fault. I didn't make this happen. This wasn't my choice. But what are you going to do, you know?
Well, in fact, it does mean, Michael, that life is strange.
Yeah, yeah, dude, life is strange. Life is super strange. That is for damn sure.
Which is the reason why we got you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny enough. So the reason why we've got you here is Life is Strange 2. Now, I need to start off the podcast by saying that when I requested this, I wasn't aware that it was done in episodic format across the year. And so it's been released on PS4 in December as the whole thing. The easiest way to start this off, Michael, obviously on your side, is what was production of the game like for you?
For me, it was actually pretty brief. I went in for one voiceover session with a production company called Horseless Cowboy. I've auditioned for them like so many times, and I auditioned for this. I can't even remember when I auditioned for it. It was a long time ago from when I auditioned and when they called me in. And I just got an email being like, hey, we want to cast you, you know, in this. And I think it had a different name at the time. I can't remember what it was, but it had a different name. And so I was like going through my emails trying to figure out like, when did I audition? What is this project? What is happening right now? I originally auditioned for, I'm sorry, I can't remember the character's name. In the project, he's the jerk. And I'm like the jerk's friend who's a little less jerky and is like, come on, man, let's just be cool. I'm like a jerk by association. I'm like kind of a good guy, if that makes sense.
It's always better being a good guy than a bad guy. But then again, saying that, I think games are coming to the point now where that line is a bit blurred.
Oh, absolutely. Games are becoming more, like you said, the episodic. They're more like a TV or something, you know? It's like you get to play this game, but you also get to watch like an animated movie at the same time, or a TV show. See,
I'm sort of to and froing on this, because Telltale, you know, the Telltale series of games, they do this as well. They do this episodic format. And I mean, Half-Life 2 did the episodic format as well. And I'm just thinking, does that work? Is it better to have the whole game than just sort of bits of it being released across the year?
I mean, better for who? It's like Game of Thrones. I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones or any series, right? It's like when it's all comes out at once, you just binge it. And it's good and you enjoy it, but like it's almost like when it comes out as an episodic, from a user standpoint, you get to have that anticipation of like, oh, next week it's happening. So it almost gives you something to look forward to. And I think that's really the only benefit to the user. I think it's more obviously beneficial to the distributors, you know, the creators, because then they have the opportunity to build anticipation and then make more money. But, you know, I also do like the idea of it being episodic, because it's like when Game of Thrones, I'll just say Game of Thrones because I'm just using that because I was super addicted to it. When it ended, I was so sad, you know, and it was like, as long as there was another episode, like I said, you had something to look forward to, you know? So I don't know what's better or worse, you know?
So, obviously, given the fact that it's a sequel, because there's a 2 in it, did you know much about the original?
I am an Xbox guy. The only games I really ever play are Call of Duty, Halo, and Call of Duty and Halo. Oh, and Elder Scrolls. Yeah, that's pretty much it. No, I didn't really know anything about the game.
A lot of people just switched off there.
I know. People are like, really? What the? I'm like, sorry. I know. I should have been a bigger fan. But there's I don't know. There's so much content, so many things. I can't do everything. I'm sorry, people. I try.
Would you say it's your first role as a video game artiste?
Yeah, it was, and it was awesome.
I mean, obviously, I get quite a lot of people who have a sort of a running career with it, and more importantly, they've got a running career with like mocap technology. Is that something that you would want to sort of get into?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would love to do more video games, get to the mocap thing. You were asking about the experience earlier. Like, it was super quick. The guys were nice. I walked in. I had read what they had sent me, because they don't send you everything. It's not like they send you a full movie script or anything. And it was a wonderful experience, all around. Plus, getting to be a part of a video game. I think as actors or voiceover artists and all that stuff, we always think of movies or TV shows and don't really remember video games. Video games, I think, are even more exciting in a way, just because it's going to be used by so many people over and over, and there's so much more variation in a video game than you can have in a TV show or a movie.
Obviously, going back to Life is Strange, are there any sort of funny anecdotes you can share about the production of the game?
The only thing that really sticks out, I don't know how funny it is, but the guy told me my voice had a Jake Gyllenhaal vibe, and that I should listen to Jake Gyllenhaal and try to voice match him and tell my agent so I could do voiceover stuff for Jake Gyllenhaal. That's kind of about it.
So go on, Michael. Impress us with your Jake Gyllenhaal impression.
I wish I could quit you. Brokeback Mountain, I don't know. That's the only line I could think of. What else did Jake Gyllenhaal say? He says a Marine is... I don't remember. I remember Jarhead. I remember Brokeback Mountain and Donnie Darko.
Well, we can compare now. Because on the line, Michael. No, he isn't.
That would have been too much.
One of these days, I'm actually going to have them on the line. It'll be just one of those moments you think, oh, Christ.
Yeah, I feel like he would be so impressed with me. He'd be like, really, dude, this stuff, go away. I would just be so sad, because what if I'm in a movie with him one day? Remember that one time I did a horrible impersonation of you? He would not be impressed. Anyways.
He's thinking, I know what job I can give him. Stunt double.
Yeah. He's like, I need a back double. You could be that. Thanks, Jake.
Let's talk a bit about you, Michael. Let's talk a bit about you. You yourself. Fun and gags are over now, because I think we have to get into quite serious conversation here with some of this stuff. The first thing we have to mention is the fact that you were in the Marine Corps.
Okay, yeah.
What on earth made you then jump from that to being an actor?
Such a good question. My mom was an opera singer in her previous life before she decided to have my brothers and sisters and I. She did pretty well for herself doing that. And so the theater, the arts have always been a part of my household. I only did a couple community production shows as a child, 2, and then I basically stopped until I started studying theater after the Marine Corps. So my parents really pushed me to do it. When I got out of the Marine Corps and I was going to school, I was studying kinesiology to do physical therapy, and I was studying communications, and I had mentioned thinking about singing or acting, and they were like, do it, go do it, just do it. And so then I switched my major to theater, and then 2 years later graduated with a BA from Cal State Northridge, and just hit the ground running in LA and hustling as hard as I could to make a living. Not wealthy by any means, but at least enough to make a living.
I'm going to ask a bit of a controversial, dangerous question here. Technically, I suppose I am a journalist, so I'm sort of part and parcel of the whole thing. But, I mean, obviously I don't do newspapers, I don't do, anything broadsheet or anything like that. I'm not going to get into the political side of Trump or anything like that, because that's completely unfair. But obviously, we see it in the news, we see it on TV, we see it in the papers. What is actually the truth?
As far as what?
I mean, obviously, you were deployed in Afghanistan, for example, and there's a whole
Yeah.
big, huge, thing around that, isn't there?
What are my views on that?
In part and parcel, but I mean, what is the actual truth that the public, I suppose, are not being hidden from, but is not being told fully, if that makes sense?
Well, I don't think there's anything that's not being told fully. I think when we went to Afghanistan in 2001, when we sent a small force over there, basically special forces, to disband the Taliban, I think that was the exact right move, because if anybody's ever seen The Kite Runner or anything like that, they have a glimpse of how oppressive they were and how awful they were in R. And then when we went to Iraq in 2003, we basically stopped focusing on, where was Iraq? No. Am I messing up my dates? I think I got my dates right. Anyways, when we went to Iraq, we kind of forgot about Afghanistan. Taliban came back, and we lost the trust of the people, and it was just a crapshoot. Now, as far as being in Iraq, there was good reason to be there, and there wasn't good reason to be there. Were there weapons of mass destruction? I don't think they ever produced anything. I don't think they ever found anything. Was Saddam Hussein horrible? Did the powers of the world, the superpowers of the world, create Saddam Hussein? In my opinion, yes, we did. It's like we helped him until we were like, nope, not you anymore, and then we're like, you got to go. So there's all of that, and then as far as being there, we were there so a few white men could become super rich. I'm sure someone's going to hate me for this, but I really don't care. George Bush and Dick Cheney, mostly Dick Cheney, invaded a country or invaded countries, sent the military over there to secure peace. But really what they were doing, besides all of that, was becoming billionaires. Dick Cheney, especially. He owns the business Halliburton, and Halliburton is a private military contractor that is over in the Middle East, and they run everything. It's all run by civilian contractors. When I was there, I was an electrical engineer working on generators, providing power, and all our generators pretty much were all civilian generators that I didn't have parts to, I didn't have manuals to, I couldn't get parts to. I was constantly Frankensteining things, constantly trying to make stuff work. And these civilian contractors over there getting these huge paychecks, and Dick Cheney's over here getting an even bigger paycheck, and I'm over there taking parts from here, taking parts from there, trying to just figure it out and make it work, when there was no reason to do that, because we have the resources to not do that. The military set up to be, it's a self-sustaining force. There always have been civilians involved in every war, right, and contractors and whatnot, but for the most part, the military set up to be a self-sustaining force, and I didn't see that a whole lot when I was in Afghanistan. I think we had reason to be there. I think there was a lot of times of helping people out, helping the nationals, kicking Taliban out, and Al Qaeda and all those groups. But I also think we were growing them as fast as we were unrooting them, if not faster. If you destroy someone, where do you live?
Leicester.
Leicester?
Mm.
Okay, so some foreign force comes through your town. Let's just say they have a machine gun and they shoot 3 bullet holes into your wall, right? They don't even destroy it. They don't hit anybody. They just shoot into your wall. You automatically don't like them, and you're going to be part of a force that is going to be there to remove them. And so there's all kinds of stuff like that happening in that country, because we went over there as America thinking we know the very best of what needs to be done. Or not even just America. We went over there as an allied force with America at the tip of it, thinking we know what's best for these people, when the fact of the matter is, when you look especially at Afghanistan, never been conquered. And since Alexander the Great, since before him, it's been a tribal place. They have a way they do things. You can't set them up like the UK, America, like any of these other places. They're their own place, but we think we know best. And then as far as Iraq goes, man, we went in there and we just fired all of their leadership, all of the country's leadership, and totally dismantled that whole country and sent them into chaos. And Iraq had an infrastructure. Iraq wasn't just people living in, straw huts with no electricity and no paved roads and no hospitals and no nothing. They had infrastructure. That's a bit of a long tangent on all that. Probably get some grief for that, but whatever. It's the truth.
So to get back to sort of gaming for a second, because you mentioned Call of Duty. Obviously, you mentioned that you play Call of Duty. Given the fact that obviously you've been out and been in active service, when you're playing a game like that, you must be thinking, this is so inaccurate.
Oh, yeah, so inaccurate. So those guys in those games are all operators, so they're all special forces, right? So I was deployed in special forces. I was not special forces. I was not an operator. I am not an operator. But they make it seem like you're just out there running solo, doing your thing, just living your free life. And it's always as a team. Maybe there's like double black secret CIA operatives or, oh gosh, I can't remember the Israeli special forces, super secret, Delta Force. Sometimes they might operate a little bit more on their own, but I mean, pretty much always working as a team. So just from the very beginning of it, it's just like, this is not accurate.
I need to talk about home life with you, Michael.
Yes.
Because you've done something this year, which is incredible, I think. Tell everybody what you've done, Michael.
Yeah, so on June 8th, I started walking from Portland, Maine, which is the northeast corner, if you will. It's not the most northeast, but it's just a couple hundred miles short of the most northeast point you can be in the United States, to San Diego, California, which is the most southwest point of the United States. So I started walking on June 8th. I ended on November 23rd. I walked 3,333 miles in 169 days? I think I did already. Anyways, in 169 days, and I was raising money for homeless veterans and also finding my own peace of mind, because my oldest brother passed away in 2017. My father passed away in 2014. I'm the youngest of six, and I became the patriarch of the family. And my other brother suffers from really bad PTSD, and I've been his legal guardian for the last several years. And then when my other, God, this is getting all convoluted. When my other brother passed away, I was his executor on his will. I was helping my mom out, had a full-time acting career, had a relationship that was not so great. So it was just a lot over the last several years. And I finally got to a point where I could step away. And so I called my mom on May 22nd and told her I was leaving in about 6 weeks to walk across the country. She said, okay. And then 2.5 weeks later, I was in Maine walking. There wasn't a whole lot of prep time. I walked a lot. I walked like 10 miles a day. Started with a pack that was about 60 to 70 pounds, but closer to 70. I went about 250 miles with that. I got to a Walmart at the end of the day, a few miles short of what my goal was, and I just had all these blood blisters on the bottom of my feet, and I was like, screw this, I've had enough. So then I bought the stroller, and then when I got to New York, I actually got a dog stroller cart thing. It's like this huge, basically 3 bicycle wheels, 2 20-inch, 1 12-inch wheel, or 10-inch wheel, and it's just a canvas thing where I can put all my stuff. So I threw my pack in there, threw all my gear in there, and I used that for the next 3,100 miles, essentially, to get me to San Diego.
How much did you raise? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I raised about $8,000, and originally I was going to give it to the Veterans of Foreign Wars and Disabled American Veterans to help homeless vets, but there's some local organizations in LA that I think it would better serve. I've only seen one brother and one sister. I haven't seen the rest of my siblings or my nieces and nephews since I finished my walk. I'm
going to ask a good question here. A lot of the targets when elections come up and politics come up are the fact that there's no support for mental health. And the other thing is there's no support for homeless veterans or the homeless in general. I mean, would you agree that there should be more done?
Oh, I absolutely agree that there should be more done. There are things being done. There are organizations that are out there helping homeless veterans and the homeless in general. We'll just focus on homeless veterans because it's easier, because, I mean, the homeless crisis is just insane. But as far as like homeless veterans, like I said, I've been my brother's legal guardian as he's, trying to move through PTSD. I've been at the VA hospitals, and they are just so overwhelmed. And there's a number of people there who don't really care, who are just there to collect a paycheck, which I get. Like, everyone's got to have a job and all that, but there's just not enough. There's not enough resources, and I don't think the training's there for the people who are there. You know, the people who really care, I think maybe they're well trained, but I've seen so many people that just, I'm like, you have basically no business being here. You know, like, I've had to go in and tell them how to do their job so many times. You know, they're like, well, we can't do that. That's not according to regulations. And I'm like, no, according to the regulations that are printed on your website right here, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You know, and I don't know if that's just because they are so incredibly overwhelmed. I don't know if it's because they never got the training in the first place or what it is. You know, I think a big part is just being so overwhelmed, you know. And then the other part is, if you've never seen PTSD up close and personal, whether it's from someone who's been to war or someone who's just had something traumatic happen in their life and been through it repeatedly, they need someone to be there to advocate for them, to almost speak on their behalf, and someone that they trust. Because I can tell you for sure, if I wasn't there for my brother to help get him through this process, he would not have the benefits. He would not be getting the help he needs. You know, because when you're dealing with so much trauma, your patience is razor thin, and you just don't have the skills to cope with someone who maybe doesn't know their job, right? And you don't have the wherewithal to figure out how to navigate this whole system, you know, because there's so much red tape that you have to cut through all the time, that if you're not in a clear state of mind, you're going to just be left behind.
We best get it back onto your acting career. Bit of a good question here, because I saw it on your IMDb. You're gonna have to explain this to me a bit better, because I'm English. We don't have this. It says in the trivia section of your IMDb, Michael has eaten a 20 by 20 from In-N-Out twice.
Yeah, so that actually doesn't have anything to do with my acting career, except that I thought it was a fun and interesting thing. There's a hamburger place it used to only be in Southern California where I grew up, but now it's kind of spreading further, and it's a really basic hamburger joint. If you go to look at the menu, they have a hamburger, a cheeseburger, a double cheeseburger, or a double as they call it, strawberry chocolate, vanilla milkshake, and soda and fries. Like, that's it. I've never been to England, so I don't know what your burger situation is there, but in the States, it's like you can get, you know, the fancy burgers with all kinds of crap on it. So they keep it basic, except for their secret menu, which is a whole other story. Anyway, so a 20 by 20 is 20 pieces of meat, 20 pieces of cheese. It's probably like, I don't know how many pounds it was. It was quite heavy. Basically, but my friends, I was like, I can eat a 20 by 20, an animal-style French fry, which means a French fry with like Thousand Island special sauce, cheese, and grilled onions, and a drink. And so the first time I ate the 20 by 20, I had like 10 drinks, but I couldn't finish the French fries, so I lost the bet. And then the second time that it came around, they didn't do 20 by 20s anymore. The biggest they would make is an 8 by 8. So I got 2 8 by 8s and a 4 by 4. So it was even more food because there was more bread, more lettuce. I finished the French fry, I finished the drink, and as soon as I took the last bite of the burger, I barfed in the middle of the restaurant. Fortunately, I told my friends to grab a black trash bag, so I made it into the bag and not all over the ground. But I took the last bite, swallowed it, and then it all came back up. That didn't happen the first time.
And to sort of connect it to your acting career, it was almost like a sniff, a lick, and a taste.
Yeah, a sniff, a lick, and a taste. Yeah, that was a movie I did for these guys who were going to San Diego State University. I played Bo the dog. We were dressed up in animal costumes, acting like we were animals, but we weren't animals, and we were escaping from the pound. It was weird because we just talked like people, you know, and we walked around like people. You know, we weren't crawling or anything. It was a really great project. Those guys were awesome. One of them's now doing a lot of commercial work, producing, and then a couple of the other guys are producing, directing a lot of shorts and stuff. But it was an amazing project to be a part of, and it was so cold. We were filming up at like 6,500 feet in the mountains and wearing these like thin dog costumes, and oh god, it was freezing, but it was definitely one of my favorite projects. It was a good comedy. It turned out really well.
So you go from Such a good comedy. And then next year, we don't have anything. Actually, no, I suppose we do actually have something like this in the UK. You're in a documentary called Sex Sent Me to the ER.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a time. There's like all these Discovery ID shows. You know, they're legit TV shows, but they're not like the Netflix dramas or the Amazon dramas or the HBO dramas. You know, they're kind of documentary style with the reenactments. And so I played an American, just like the worst American ever. like, just like very bro-ish. I was like, when you think of a stereotypical American, I guess, that's what I was playing. And halfway through my scene, I take off my American flag sweatsuit, I'm in a Speedo, and I jump into the water. And then this couple that we were not supposed to be on the boat with, can't remember what happened to them. They had sex, and they got sent to the ER, hence the title.
Oh, so it wasn't you then?
No, I was not the guy who had sex and was sent to the ER. I was the annoying American who wore a Speedo.
People think I just make this stuff up.
You know, it's all real and true.
Yeah. Which are your favourite actors to have worked with, and who would you like to work with in the future?
Oh, favorite actor to work with? You know, I've only worked with a couple of really famous people, Jane Fonda and Don Johnson in Book Club. I worked with this lady, Belle Adams, who is actually doing pretty well. She's been in quite a few TV shows, and she's definitely going places, and she's hilarious. She's definitely worth checking out, and I would love to work with her again. She played the cat in Sniff a Lick and a Taste. The reason they call it that is because at one point in the movie, the dog pound guy who's chasing us after we escape, he finds a turd on the ground, and he picks it up, and he sniffs it, he licks it, and thus tastes it. But I would love to work with her again. I'd also like to work with Don Johnson. He was cool. I mean, Jane Fonda was cool too, but I think the thing about Jane Fonda is I was a day player, and Jane Fonda's been famous her entire life, and so she was nice and everything, but I also feel like, how many day players has Jane Fonda met? You know what I mean? She wasn't trying to be my best friend, whereas Don Johnson was a little more warm and a little more welcoming and friendly and seemed like a pretty funny, charismatic guy.
You've mentioned 2 words now, and I have to, unfortunately, do this again. It's Jane Fonda. You've mentioned Jane Fonda now, Michael. I say one thing, and one thing alone. Do you know what it is?
No.
Don't remake Barbarella.
Oh, Barbarella. You know what's crazy? Is she still looks like Barbarella. If I was 80 and straight, I would totally try to date her. She just turned 80 when I filmed with her, and I was like, you don't look a day over 65, Jane.
I mean, if they did remake it, you'd think they'd put her in somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, obviously, Michael, you now get a 1-minute plug. A 1-minute plug to plug Life is Strange 2 and anything else you've got coming up, which I know you do.
Yeah. So get out there, go buy Life is Strange 2, play the game. It's awesome, I guarantee it. The animation is amazing. The script is cool. The story play is cool. Go out there and do that. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Michael Gmur, MichaelGmur. Check out my website on yourgangster.com, which is following your heart unapologetically and living without excuses. I'm going to be writing a book pretty soon here about my journey across the country and everything leading to it. My brother dying, my other brother going to jail because of it, which I didn't talk about, but we will talk about later. And own your gangster and live your best life.
You mentioned you're writing a book about your walk across the US, which is absolutely fantastic, by the way. Would you turn it into a screenplay?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's going to be turned into a screenplay, definitely.
Who's going to play you?
I don't know. I would love to play me, but I feel like that's probably not going to happen, so I'll probably have like some cameo part in my film. I don't know who I would get to play me. Maybe one of the Chris's. Chris Pine, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth. No, not Chris Hemsworth. But maybe you know what? I'd really actually rather give it. I'd rather find someone who's famous but not crazy famous because it'll probably be a low budget ish. I mean, yeah, I probably won't be able to afford one of the Chris's, but that would be great if like Chris
Pratt.
Pine? No, I think Chris Pine, maybe. Of all the Chris's, I think he's my favorite actor.
See, we're not going for the obvious one, Michael. It could be.
Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
I mean, it crossed my mind, but I was like, no.
Bagsy first copy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Michael, it's been a pleasure interviewing you.
Thank you. It's been wonderful being interviewed. I've really enjoyed it.
We'll have to get you back once the book's finished.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love that.
Thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye now.
All right, bye-bye.